Welcome to Ayara. As far as our opening hand goes, this is good, but it doesn't really go anywhere. I think we're gonna mulligan. Yeah, man, I'm just not wild about this opening hand. So let's go mulligan. And yes, we can keep on this one. I like this a lot better. We have some two sources of card advantage late game and a token source. I will 100% keep on this one. So what do we need to put on the bottom? Yeah, we'll probably just go and put a sanguinate on the bottom. We have some tutors in here we can use to find that. But yes, welcome to Sumiyara. Hope you're excited. Let's go and lead off with Swamp. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Ayara. Whenever a Yara or another black creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses one life and you gain one life. Then for an activated ability, sacrifice another black creature, draw a card. Playing gets baby Syr Gwyn on her little baby miniature horse. Don't even know a word yet. With her little baby toothpick sword. She has baby vigilance and baby menace. And then whenever an equipped creature you control attacks, draw a card, you lose one life. The equipment you control have equipped baby knights for 0 ability. So there we go. We've got, we'll make her normal because she might get mad. Oh, there we go. All right, so we're playing as normal Gwyn now. So, all right, they get off to a pretty nice start. It's going to be Mana Crypt and Talisman and no land. So, all right, let's have some fun. Let's go Argos Bloodfast. That's going to be 1-2. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to take a tour of Ayara's castle over to MTGOTraders, head on over there. We'll sacrifice you for some card draw in a heartbeat, and that'll make her happy to make me happy. So if that sounds like something that's going to float your boat, make sure you check that out. And also, let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com. You can use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order, off anything off the website. So if you have not treated yourself in a long time, make sure you do. I think a lot of cool stuff over there. And play mats, t-shirts, bunch of stuff. Go check it out. And you can search Jolt539 to see some of the stuff I've designed. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. Get your name at the beginning or the end of the credits or both. And to support cool content like this. And if you can't do that, hey, no problem. Just tell somebody about the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. So now it's officially free time. We can have some fun playing Ayara. Now, if you want to check out Ayara, I did release it on MTGOTraders last Friday. So if you want to head over to the YouTube page, check it out. Had a pretty fun little game. And if this is double commentary, I never know when a video is going to make the cut. You know, we're 3 minutes into the video or 2 minutes into the video, and I don't know, if we win really quick, if we lose really quick, who knows? So if I ever repeat commentary, there's typically the same style of commentary, at least the same story I'm telling when I'm recording a certain commander. So basically, if I splice them together, hey, that is why. So let's go read the bones or Phyrexian Arena. Yeah, let's go Phyrexian Arena. That'll be pretty good. Maybe if we can just hit a spot removal and just keep Syr Gwyn off the battlefield, we might be in a pretty good position. So this might be a pretty grindy game, which I am excited about. So we're going to pass the turn over there. But yeah, with Ayara, there's nothing too crazy with this build. One thing that I did do is we have that same core concept of, mono black cutthroat, we've got a lot of life loss to draw some cards. We have a lot of ramp really quick. We have a lot of artifacts. The main thing that we did is I just didn't really go super heavy Ayara, like, blood gas, reassembling skeleton. I didn't really do a lot of that. And one of the main things that I wanted to do is I wanted to get to the late game with mono black, just having a ton of mana, and let's go for stuff like Army of the Damned, and Horn Overlord, Grave Titan. We have the Liliana Dreadhorde General. I think that's her name. Or at least that particular planeswalker where you get 2 black zombies on the battlefield. So there's just different interactions that we want to get down to where we can slowly just drain our opponent out, or at least kind of, get down a lot of creatures and drain them out pretty quick. So we got Sad Robot on the battlefield on our opponent's side. Let's have Swamp enter. And we can go for Ayara if we want to start getting down the rest of these creatures, or we can go for Read the Bones to set some stuff up. Yeah, let's just kind of go for a spot removal test. If we end up having Yawgmoth with Ophiomancer, that's a pretty good thing to have. So let's just go and have Ayara come down, and then we'll see what we're in store for. But we did draw to Living Death, which is going to be a very nice thing for us to have. So anything else, we're just going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So hopefully between Phyrexian Arena and our card draw, we're going to hit the land drop for next turn. If we don't, then we might end up going Yawgmoth, and then like to get that Ophiomancer at the same time. That way we're not kind of left out on the battlefield. But yeah, so we got the late game stuff. We talked about Grave Titan, Liliana. One of the other things that we do have is Awaken the Erstwhile. And so, and it's cool because with Awaken the Erstwhile, we have a lot of different ways to draw some cards. So we've got Phyrexian Arena, we've got Argos Bloodfast, we've got Ayara, we can sacrifice creatures with Awaken, and we make each player discard their hand, and then you create that many 2/2 black zombies. Now, it does give our opponent some black zombies, but for us, it really works out because we can hopefully set ourselves up, like right now, let's say if we draw into that card and somehow we hit the land too, we'd probably go for it. That's going to be like 5 zombies on the battlefield. Our opponent just has an Argos Bloodfast activation that they can go for to catch up on card draw. So we should be able to outvalue our opponent going from there. So even little things like that, where it's kind of like you just punch your opponent in the face, and then while they're on the ground, then you kind of hop back up, kind of take the game over. So that's in there. That's one of the key. Ooh, Vampiric Tutor. We can put something on top if we want to go for that. So that will allow us to pretty much turn on anything on the library, and then we can get a few other things going. That's going to be Yawgmoth. Let's just see. All right, so we run into Toxic Daily. That's pretty good. Let's hold on to Vampiric Tutor because I kind of want to. Yeah, let's go read the bones. I just want to dig just a little bit deeper to see if we can hit a land drop, and then we'll kind of see what our opponent's got going on our side. Liliana. Oh, yeah, I actually kind of like this. Yeah, we'll put both on top. So that does give us some sort of option. So let's going to put both on top. Let's make the land drop for the turn. That will be swamp, and we are still online for either going for Vampiric Tutor or going for an Argos Bloodfast activation. So let's just go and pass turn over to our opponent. Okay, and then our opponent is a friend of the channel, so shout out to our opponent if you see this video. Hopefully it makes the cut. But yeah, with Vampiric Tutor, we'll see exactly what we're going to draw. Mainly, I wanted to hit the land drop for last turn. We can go something like Mana Crypt. That's going to give us a little bit of extra mana. Now, with Liliana, this is really going to double up the creature dying. So that's going to allow us to, whenever a creature dies, we to cash in a card draw. So let's say we do go for a Ayara activation with Ophiomancer on the battlefield. That's going to be 2 card draw. And that sounds really good. So we might go for some fast mana with Vampiric Tutor, because we go for that right now. That's going to be 5. Maybe we hit the land drop, and that's going to allow us to get some other stuff. But with Sunforger, one thing that we do know to watch out for with Sunforger is that our opponent going for some sort of instant speed spot removal with Sunforger. So we've got a pretty aggressive sad robot coming across. He's angry about something. It's going to knock us down to 21, and we'll see what we can do. But yeah, I think we might end up Vampiric Tutor, just to kind of explode ourselves a little bit more on mana, because once we go for Yawgmoth and Liliana, that'll be pretty good. So let's see what's going to happen with the Sunforger activation. If they go for spot removal on Ayara, it's not the end of the world. And unfortunately, we can't sacrifice Ayara to her own ability to cash in some card draw. But if she goes back, we've already got the commander tax. We're sitting at 5 total lands right now. So, but let's see what ends up happening with the Sunforger activation. Okay, so I'm going to go for Anguished Unmaking on Ayara, which, yeah, that's pretty, sounds pretty stout. Let's go Vampiric Tutor in response to that. The main thing is that's going to protect Ayara, and if we're going to be going for this kind of enter the battlefield grind fest, I almost kind of think, as much as I want to go Mana Crypt, I'd rather make sure that we keep Ayara protected, because that's going to be a very crucial to us. So let's do that. So let's go for Lightning Greaves. It's going to go on top of our library. Now, we can't cash in a card draw just yet, but at least we can get that down on Ayara for next turn. And that does keep us open to Sunforger going for some sort of, unequipped, destroy Lightning Greaves, but at least it'll give us the option of keeping Ayara protected, which is going to be pretty important. So we don't get that extra card draw, so let's go for Lightning Greaves. It's going to be 1-2. Let's put Lightning Greaves onto Ayara. Now, we'll see if this is going to get any sort of movement out of our opponent's hand. Let's see if this is going to stick. And what we can do, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They do have 7 total mana, so they're going to have to cast Syr Gwyn. We could try to wait for a Toxic Deluge, or we can actually just go for Liliana next turn. Or if we end up going... Yeah, let's do this. So let's go Ophiomancer. We're going to be able to have that enter the battlefield, then we can go for a sacrifice. That does keep us open to 1 more Sunforger activation. But with the getting down Ophiomancer, we've got Ayara protected, then we can go for the sacrifice on the snake token and still get it on our turn. So that'll be pretty good. And then plus, with our life total getting a little bit low, we're going to be able to really kind of grind it. It's really cool playing Ayara in that we don't really have to worry about our mono black life total, because we get some really good life gain going. It's a pretty good feeling. So, but yeah, let's just go and pass the turn. Now, I think I kind of like going for the Liliana Dreadhorde game plan, because that's going to give us a zombie token on the battlefield with each +1. And then once we go for that -4, As long as we have either the snake token or a zombie, we're going to be in the exact same boat we are right now, being able to keep these creatures up. So now what we may end up doing is declaring, if they decide to swing in with any sort of creatures, we might end up declaring that snake a blocker. But with it being death touch, we may not see it swing in with sad robot. So, but if we don't want our opponent to get any card draw, we can always sacrifice the snake to make sure that we don't kill sad robot. So, and then also the other cool thing is they do have mana crypt on the battlefield. So if we can just kind of like slowly grind it out. And we have a few mana crypt triggers kind of go our way, then that should be a pretty good way to at least kind of get their life total down. That's the fun thing about Ayara, especially if you're just building it in a control aspect, is that you can really whittle away at your opponent's life total. Now we do have a couple different cool interactions in here. It's not, I'd hate to call it combo, but it is very fun, and that's going to be Hatred and Carrion. So Carrion is a 3 mana instant speed, sacrifice a creature. We get to put, I think, 0/1 like black. I can't remember what kind they are. Basically, like 0/1 insect tokens on the battlefield. Now, the cool thing about that is, let's say we have Grave Titan on the battlefield for 3 mana. We can sacrifice Grave Titan. That's going to be 6 tokens on the battlefield. That's going to be 6 life loss for our opponent, 6 life gain for us. Then let's say you toss in something like Hatred. As long as you have like 21, and we can pay like 20 life with Hatred and put it on a creature and then sacrifice it and get all those creatures and really drain our opponent. So I am writing that in here. It's not really going to win us the games, but there's a lot of times, we've got Argos Bloodfast. We have a commander that cares about sacrificing a creature so we can go for card draw. And so if we end up with both of them in the hand and we've got a lot of mana, which is not that crazy in this deck, it's a pretty good feeling. So now our opponent did go for an Argos Bloodfast activation, I'm pretty sure. And that's going to leave them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's just going to be 5 total mana. So let's see what they're going for. Either way, we're still going to be able to cash in a card draw, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, we hit a land, because we can actually just deploy Liliana out, and they don't really have a haste option. So with that, them not having a haste option, we can at least hopefully try to keep Syr Gwyn in check. All right, so opponent's going to go for the Sun Forger onto Sad Robot. Now, one of the things, if you didn't see my Syr Gwyn video, definitely check it out. I'm pretty sure I played against Esper Reanimator, and if you just want like a good game, whew, that was a lot of fun. I'm sure to look it up. So we're going to go Snake Token on Sad Robot. We're going to go for the Sacrifice ability on Snake. And the main thing that this is going to do is this is going to, not kill Sad Robot. So we're going to be able to sacrifice the Snake Token before that happens. So let's see what this Sun Forger is going to be. So that's going to be red or white instant. Yeah, let's see what ends up happening before we go for a sacrifice. Okay, opponent's going to go for Soul's Fire. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to any target. They're going to target Ophiomancer. Okay, so is there any way we can dodge that? Because that is definitely going to stop our token production for sure. So I'm almost more tempted to kind of end up making the trade with Sad Robot. That way there's no body out there. And then just sacrificing Snake. That does give them a card draw, but I think I kind of like this. So, yeah, let's do that. So we're going to go and sacrifice Snake Token. That's going to, or at least Ophiomancer. That's going to allow us to, okay, Swiftfoot Boot. So we've got super secret double protection for Ayara. And so we can at least, if nothing else happens, if we don't hit the land drop next turn, then we can at least get that down and have Ayara be double protected. But we might end up going for Yawgmoth or something else like that. Now, the only thing in our graveyard is Ophiomancer, so we do have Living Death, but need to do a little bit more setting up before we're going to go for Living Deck. So let's see what we run into. Come on, land. Oh, Knight's Whisper. Okay. So that's going to be no Lily on. Yeah, let's Knight's Whisper because we might be able to make the land drop and go for Yawgmoth. I kind of like doing this. All right, there we go. All right, so we go Swamp. Let's have Yawgmoth enter the battlefield. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. And that'll put us in a position to where we at least have 2 more creatures on the battlefield, and we can still dodge that -4, and we're still kind of attacking our opponent's life total. So, since we're probably not going to sacrifice Yawgmoth at this point right now, let's go and push in with the Ayara. That way we can knock them down to 14, and heck, if they get hit with that mana crypt trigger, that's going to be 11, so they'll be in the single digits. So we might be able to kind of pull the game our way. Now, one thing that we do want to find is some sort of spot removal. We do have some pretty good spot removal in here. Your pretty normal stuff. We've got the Hero's Downfall, Murderous Rider, and what's the other one? Got it in here somewhere. Trying to look at my screen. Anyway, we do have some spot removal. It'd be good to have some sort of spot removal against Syr Gwyn, simply because that equip ability is pretty nice. But thankfully, we've been able to dodge any sort of hasty options from our opponent, at least at this point right now. So they don't whiff on that mana crypt trigger. I guess they're choosing tails and getting it right. And but yeah, next turn we'll probably end up going Liliana. Simply just having her down is going to be enough of a threat to where hopefully we can either sacrifice the zombies with the Yawgmoth and start pinging our opponent out, or if, like I said, if we don't find that spot removal, Yawgmoth, okay, they're going to go for D-Spark. Yeah, that'll work. There's not really anything that we can do in response to that. We can't sacrifice the creature. Yeah, that's fine. And at this point, we could have left up Ayara, but with our opponent being in the single digits, and like I mentioned, with that mana crypt trigger maybe going our way, I want to be a little aggressive with swinging in versus going for card advantage. So that's why we kind of went for that line of play. But let's see what else they've got down for the turn. All right, so they're going to go for Black Lance Paragon. And when it enters the battlefield, target not against Death Touch in lifelink until end turn. Okay. All right, so they're going to target itself, but there's no haste. They can actually, if they want to equip Sunforger, that's going to be 3 total mana. Yeah, they can actually go for the Sunforger equip. Ooh. Okay, that was Wheel of Fortune. All right. So that did get rid of Liliana, but at least we have a few other options that we can go for. And we can actually Crypt Breaker on a zombie to sacrifice it. Yeah, let's see what's going to end up happening. I mean, this is not too bad. So we've got Bantu's Monument, and then with Hatred, now if we could just run into Carrion, we'll be in a pretty good spot. But yeah, it does stink to miss out on Toxic Deluge. So hopefully we'll rip into another card draws, or at least another piece of spot removal sometime soon. But let's go and make Syr Gwyn a little baby Gwyn right now so we can make sure we're keeping track of what our opponent's got going on. Okay, so they have 1 white mana left up, and that's going to be Godless Shrine. So let's see what we rip into for the turn. That's going to be Bajuka Bog, which, So if we go to 7, we're looking at Crypt Breaker. That's going to be an extra zombie. Yeah, I think we kind of do need this land drop. So let's do this. So let's go Swamp. Let's have Swamp into the battlefield. Let's go Bantu's Monument, because that's going to be 1, 2, 3. And they have a fresh grip, so we do have to watch out, but I kind of like going for this. So we have Bantu's Monument enter the battlefield. We're going to be able to for Curse of Shallow Graves. We're going to target our opponent. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. That's going to allow us to create an extra zombie. And then once we go for Crypt Breaker, that's going to allow us to get down Crypt Breaker, get the Ayara trigger, and also get the Bantu's Monument trigger, which is going to be pretty good. So let's go for Crypt Breaker. That's going to be 1, 2. It's going to be an extra Bantu's Monument trigger. And this is what makes this deck so much fun. You know, we've gotten to the point now to where if we lose, you know, it does stink, but we're having a lot of fun being able to kind of like really put some life total pressure on our opponent, which is really nice. So, all right, so it's going to be the Ayara trigger. We could swing it for 2-3, but against a 3-1, I'm not super wild about just making a straight up trade like that. So let's just go and pass the turn to our opponent and then kick it back over there. If we wanted to swing in an extra zombie, we could. If our opponent was like in the 5 range, or if we could put him into Mana Crypt Death range, then I would certainly do that. But I think at this point, we're just going to leave Ayara back that way in case if there's a board wipe, because our opponent did just go for Wheel of Fortune. Oh, yeah, there we go. Let's go put them down to 9. We're getting somewhere. But yeah, just in case there's a board wipe, I want to have the option of being able to use Ayara to sacrifice Crypt Breaker. Another thing that we could have done if we wanted to, instead of going for Curse of Shallow Graves that turn, is we could have gotten down Crypt Breaker, shifted Lightning Greaves over on the Crypt Breaker, gone for a hasty option, and then put the Lightning Greaves back up. But our opponent did have 1 white mana up open after Wheel of Fortune, and so we hadn't seen Path or Swords all game. I didn't like leaving Ayara out there, so because this game basically is going to break down to us keeping Ayara on the battlefield at all costs. So I could have done that to get an extra creature down, but I just didn't really like that. And then plus, if something's going to happen, Crypt Breaker is going to have not have Summoning Sickness next turn. So a little bit more of a conservative play because our line of play right now is Ayara. But Ayara's probably been the most fun out of the... Well, I'll take that back. Yorvo's been a lot of fun too, playing that mono green. You just get a lot of counters on Yorvo. But Ayara, yeah, it's a different kind of mono black. You know, if you're a fan of Gonti, I think you would really enjoy Ayara. And the cool thing about Ayara is it's pretty open. I mean, you don't have to go full like creatures out of the graveyard, creatures that are in the battlefield, whatever that may be. You can simply just build like your basic building blocks, get your coffers in there, and just pick out some of your favorite black planeswalkers and just kind of get some of that going. And it's pretty cool. All right, so we're gonna see some. We're seeing a kind of deployment of knights coming out here right now. So at least next turn, if we do swing in with Crypt Breaker, we're going to have the Crypt Breaker activation, because whenever a black creature enters the battlefield, that's going to be another pinging effect. So that's at least going to put them down to 8. Let's say we swing it with a creature, that's going to put them down to 7. Mana Crypt trigger doesn't go their way, that's going to put them down to 4. Then we also do have the option of maybe sneaking in a Hatred, so we'll kind of see what's going to happen. But let's see if they decide to swing in, because this might make it to where, most people don't really expect a Hatred out of the middle of nowhere. So we'll go and let this come on through. This is going to be a 3-1 and a 2-2. And with that first strike, that actually makes it to where we can swing in with a Ayara, but she does have Lightning Greaves, which is Shroud. So that's not going to allow us to target a Ayara with the Hatred option. So, but yeah, like I mentioned, I think I just don't really feel that comfortable taking the Greaves off of Ayara at this point right now, just because we've seen some pretty good removal from our opponent. We saw Despark, we saw Anguish Unmaking, and so once you see those, if I'm a betting man, I bet there's a Path to Exile hanging around in there somewhere. So Phyrexian Processor, and I think, and that's another way. So Phyrexian Processor and Hatred are the ways that we can kind of combo off with a Carrion. So we've got discard a card, create a zombie token. Yeah, let's kind of dig a little bit. I think I kind of like doing this. So we're going to dig a little bit. That still puts us at 6 mana available. And worst case scenario, okay, we run into another swamp. Not exactly what we want to see. And then with Phyrexian Processor, we don't have a reduced cost of any of these other creatures either. And then getting us down to 15... gets us down to 13 with Sunforger. That does get it kind of close. We just don't have a lot of stuff that we can do at this point right now. So we go for a discard off of Crypt Breaker. That's going to give us an extra zombie. We can sack it to draw into another card. That's going to be a 2/3. Yeah, so I guess at this point, and we can't take the Lightning Greaves off. No, well, yeah, and if we tap down that, then there's nothing we can do with it. We can Phyrexian Processor. So let's have Swamp enter the battlefield. Let's have Phyrexian Processor. Oh, but we're not going to have enough mana for the activation. But I still think Phyrexian Processor is pretty good. Because that'll be 1/2, and that'll leave us up on Argos Bloodfast. And I think at this point, we just need a token on the battlefield, so we might just end up just paying 1 at this point, because that'll allow us to at least get another person on the battlefild. So I'm just going to pay 1. I guess technically, we could almost pay 0. But no, we want to have a body down, so we're going to pay 1. It's going to put us down to 14, and then let's just go ahead and pass the turn, because if they get the Mana Crypt, then I think it's a little bit easier for next turn if we get this Mana Crypt to hit. So let's see what's going to happen with this Mana Crypt trigger. They're going to go for Scroll Rack activation. All right, let's see what happens on the Mana Crypt trigger. They are sitting at 10. Oh, come on. All right, they do go down to 7. Okay. All right, so that's going to put them down to 6. We've got the zombie next turn, puts them down to 5. And then, yeah, okay, it's just kind of dependent on what they get down this turn. So let's see what's in. They've only got 4 cards left in the hand. They haven't gotten down Syr Gwyn yet. We do have to watch out for Sunforger shenanigans, and that's going to be like some double strike stuff, but that's going to be the unequip, and all of their creatures are either a 3/1 or a 2/2. And if we are that worried, we can at least, make a zombie with Crypt Breaker, and then that'll allow us to discard a card and get that zombie down and be another blocker. So I think between Phyrexian Processor, that is a lot for just a token, but at least we've got, let's see, so we've got 2 creatures that can enter the battlefield next turn, a zombie once we decide to swing in, so that's going to be 3, and that'll put them down to 4. Yeah, we've got some options. It kind of does, if we can, I don't know if we can actually just close it out next turn, but I think we can put them in a position to where they might Mana Crypt lose. And it just kind of depends on how they decide to swing in. And kind of, since this is kind of the choke point for both of us, our opponent's probably thinking this one out too. So what I'm going to do is I'll jump into commentary once they decide to make their move. Okay, so we're going to see Sunforger get equipped on Sky Knight. So it's going to be 6/2. Thankfully, we can still block on the ground, so that's going to be 6. That's going to put us down to 8 if they decide to swing in. And with that Phyrexian Processor, we're still in a pretty good spot. So we'll see how they decide to do combat. Oh, and also, they announced Pioneer this morning, which is pretty cool. If you don't know about Pioneer, I think it's basically just the new. It's like Modern 2.0, basically. It starts at Return to Ravnica and then just goes all the, which is kind of cool because with Pioneer, I started in Return to Ravnica, and so this is kind of like my format of Magic. So it's almost kind of like with them starting from Ravnica. I'm like, well, all right, I'm gonna have to give this a shot. So, and then a lot of the reasons why I don't record a lot more modern content is just because I don't. Man, the modern metagame is so crazy right now. I just it's hard to keep up with what's what, and so I'm excited to start brewing for it. So you might see some stuff. I don't know if you'll see it this week, but maybe sometime soon because it feels like you can make some pretty good kind of control style decks, which I definitely would be excited about. All right, so Sky Hunter, Sky Knight does get in for 6. That puts us down to 8, and then hopefully they don't have an X burn spell or Exsanguinate because. That wouldn't be that good, but let's see what they got. Alright, so they're unequipped Sunforger. And the only thing I can think of with Sunforger is there's like Boros Charm that they could go for, and that's 4 damage to target player, and they didn't have to have damage in their own hand. But we still have the option to make an extra creature with Crypt Breaker to gain some life and make them lose a life. So that is still something that we can do. If they're banking on 8 total life loss this turn, then that's something we can kind of complicate it. So all right, so they're going to go for Joseph. Yeah, I think they went for a Sunforger, and they may have whiffed on that Sunforger, or maybe ran out of their instant and sorcery, especially if they hit Anguish on... Not, it's just instant, right? Yeah, red or white instant card. Yeah, so they might have run out of instants on that. So, but if they're just going for Josu Vest, just kind of hard casting it like that, not even paying the kicker cost, just kind of going out for that, and they're going for the cycle effect. I feel like we can hopefully get some pretty good work in for next turn. So we're definitely going to make the Crypt Breaker Zombie. I do not want to forget about that because that would stink, especially if I'm like looking at my second monitor or something like that. But yeah, with Pioneer, it's Return to Ravnica, and it just goes all the way through. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 20. It looks like there's 29 sets, so that's pretty cool. And there's some good stuff in there. So you'll probably be seeing some Frontier stuff, which I'm excited about. And the only thing you do have to watch out for is that the fetch lanes are banned in Pioneer, which is pretty different. That's unique. So let's go for the Crypt Breaker activation. It's going to be 1, 2. Let's just go and get rid of a swamp because either way we're going to be playing Bojuka Bog or that. So it's going to be a 2/2 body on the battlefield. And the good thing about this zombie token is we can use it to sacrifice a creature. I think we might do that to go for some card draw. And then we could always shift Lightning Greaves. They are completely tapped out on everything. So we're kind of, we have free reigns to do whatever we want. So let's go ahead and sacrifice a zombie. That way we can cash in an extra card. Ooh, Grave Titan. Okay, that is exactly what we want to see. So we're going to untap our creatures. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got Mana Crypt on top of that, too. So let's go land drop for the turn. Let's have Swamp come down. Let's go Mana Crypt. Yeah, this should be enough between Grave Titan and Lightning Greaves on Grave Titan. Oh, that was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful top deck. 1, 2 for Mana Crypt. Let's have old Grave Titan enter the battlefield. That's going to be a Bantu trigger. That's going to put them down to 6. That's going to put them down to 5 with Grave Titan. 2 more is going to put them down to 2, and then we should be able to get the attacks coming in, which is going to be very nice. So that's going to be the ping effect from Ayara. That's going to be another... Let's go and auto yield to these. Always yield to those. And that's going to put them down to 3, and then that should be exactly just enough once we shift a Grave Titan, Lightning Greaves over onto Grave Titan, just to make sure we don't run into some funny business from our opponent. Let's go for a Crypt Business, or Crypt Breaker activation. We'll get rid of Bojuka Bog. That'll be another zombie to put them down to 2. And this is kind of what I'm talking about with the deck. What makes it a lot of fun is that, it was kind of down to the nitty-gritty. We didn't do anything busted. We simply just top deck a Grave Titan, and we had a couple Mana Crypt triggers go our way, and that really helped us out. So that's going to be just enough with the Grave Titan triggers and Curse of the Shallow Graves trigger, getting those zombies down just perfectly. Okay, so our opponent was apologizing for taking time, but hey, that's Magic sometimes. There's a lot of times where I chew up some time on the clock, so definitely want to use that ability. It's going to be one more trigger, and oh, that is beautiful. We got Grave Titan with his zombie machete coming across. There we go. It's going to knock them down all the way to 0, and our opponent just said they swear on their life there's some equipment in there. So yeah, that is a bummer sometimes when you've got a deck set up that wants to do a certain thing and it doesn't happen. I promise you, I've been recording Ayara. I've recorded like an hour's worth of Ayara on Sunday and ended up with a bunch of just not good videos. So I would say the exact same thing about Ayara. I was like, I promise there's some tokens in here. But hopefully our opponent gets some a little bit better showing of some equipment. And yeah, if you enjoyed Ayara's Castle, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.